Tonight, millions of Canadians in the grips of intense and dangerous heat.
It's actually really hot inside.
Cooling tower, water and fan.
Multiple warnings across multiple provinces. The risks and when relief could finally arrive. Plus, from heat to fires to flooding, severe weather takes a toll.
It kind of just ruins everything.
Donald Trump backtracks on his threat in the Strait of Hormuz.
I don't think anybody should be able to charge a fee for the strait.
What it could mean for rising oil prices. And officials zero in on the possible source of a gut-wrenching outbreak.
When they say it's explosive, it is very explosive.
The tiny parasite and how people may be ingesting it.
From CBC News, this is The National with Juanita Taylor.
Thank you for joining us. Adrian is away. Oppressive heat has millions of Canadians in its grip again tonight after a day of sweltering temperatures sent people searching for whatever relief they could find. They soared into the high 30s in parts of Ontario, smashing several records. The Humidex made it feel even worse, more like 45 degrees Celsius, and that province wasn't alone. Environment Canada issued heat warnings for parts of the Northwest Territories, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec, warning not only is this heat extreme, it is dangerous. Well, this heat wave has been moving slowly from west to east over the last few days. And as Talia Sarv explains, it has climate scientists urging politicians to pay attention.
In this summer scorcher, a desperate attempt to keep cool by the pool.
It's been very spicy.
I think when I leave to go home, it might be another story.
Much of central Canada is baking in extreme heat. Across Ontario, high temperatures melted records. In Toronto, humidity making it feel in the 40s, leaving some at this fan festival struggling.
I have my fan here with like full circulation on from all angles.
Cooling tower, water and fan.
Pressure too on infrastructure, with a handful of roads in Manitoba buckling. It's among 4 provinces and 1 territory under heat warnings Tuesday.
July is traditionally the warmest month in Ontario, so heat is not unexpected. But I think what's been noteworthy is stringing together a number of consecutive days well above normal.
Environment Canada projects 2026 to be one of the country's hottest years on record. Canada is warming twice as fast as the global average. Climate change is driven largely by the burning of fossil fuels, and so, as Canada announces more pipeline projects to export oil, climate scientists are putting extra heat on those in power.
Climate physics aren't going to change just because our politics do, and we are ultimately going to have to address this problem.
The Prime Minister has said decisions being made now will secure Canada's energy future, admitting they come at a cost.
The changes we have made will mean that our emissions will be higher in the next few years.
In Europe, relentless heat waves this summer are linked to thousands of deaths.
What's happening there in the cities?
Jennifer Vanos researches connections between extreme heat and human health. She says Canada must not be complacent.
If we continue to see more intense and longer lasting heat waves in our cities, then yes, we could see trends in terms of the cost to human health similar to Europe.
Juanita, the City of Toronto is pointing people to hundreds of places to cool off, such as this pool, which is one of several that's going to be staying open tonight until nearly midnight. Health authorities are also urging people to monitor for heat exhaustion, such as headaches and fatigues. They're among signs that you need to get to somewhere cool and rehydrate.
Talia, do we know when a reprieve from these high temperatures and humidity is expected?
Well, the good news is the worst is over as a cold front moves through. However, much of Ontario won't feel a decent cooling until Friday.
All right, Talia Sarv in Toronto. Along with being under heat warnings, parts of northwestern Ontario are also under threat from wildfires. And for some on board a CN train, that turned terrifying.
This could potentially overtake us here. This is getting a little scary.
The train was overtaken by one of the wildfires near Armstrong, Ontario, where residents were ordered to evacuate Monday night. CN has confirmed this train is one of theirs. Ontario Provincial Police confirm everyone on board made it out alive. Well, there are more than 100 fires burning in the region, also leading to falling ash in places like Thunder Bay and thick smoke. Residents of multiple communities have been ordered out, and more have been told to be ready to leave at a moment's notice if the danger mounts. Well, extreme heat, wildfires, torrential rains, powerful storms, Canadians have dealt with a lot in just the last few months. And as Morgan Black explains, not only is it taking an emotional toll on many, it's taking a financial one too.
From tornadoes to flood, Canadians are dealing with the consequences of more intense weather more often, and the rising costs of insuring their homes, cars, and belongings.
Our main recreation area was the worst that was hit.
Sarah Dano knows about it all firsthand.
It kind of just ruins everything. You're kind of just left to figure it out.
After historic rainfall last month in Edmonton, her basement flooded twice. Now when she heads downstairs, this sight makes her cry.
We've worked really hard on this house.
And she's discovered her insurance did not cover the damage in her basement.
I didn't know it at the time when we had set up our insurance that there was extra coverage for things like this.
And the reality is many people might not be aware of the details of their insurance policy. They just assume that everything's covered.
Experts say the cost and scope of what insurance covers is changing with the weather, and it's more expensive.
Because Canada is just becoming a riskier place to do insurance.
Statistics Canada says Alberta homeowners are paying nearly 400% more for insurance compared to 20 years ago. That's in part due to extreme weather.
We can't change Mother Nature, but what we can do is build more resilience.
Climate researchers suggest governments can do that by updating things like building codes. Otherwise,
the bill to maintain our infrastructure will increase on average to the end of the century by $15 billion per year.
Right now, many Canadians are stuck paying the price for weather they cannot control.
There's limits to what people can do individually.
For Dano, the financial toll of all this has consequences.
We're not going to be able to give our daughter another sibling for a while.
So even as the storm passes, the impacts are far-reaching. Morgan Black, CBC News, Edmonton.
The U.S. says its blockade of Iranian ports has resumed tonight as it launches another round of strikes on Iran. But Donald Trump is backing down on a threat he made just yesterday. Julia Wong now with the shifting tactics as tensions rise.
The U.S. says it's carrying out new attacks on Iranian military targets.
We're going to hit them very hard tonight. We're going to hit them very hard tomorrow night. We're going to hit them very hard the night after.
And restarting its naval blockade of Iranian ports.
We're protecting this strait.
But Donald Trump is backtracking on a plan to charge a 20% fee for the safe passage of vessels through the Strait of Hormuz.
I was called by different people, different countries, kings and emirs and all of the people that we all know and we all love, and they've been very strong partners. And they said, we'd love to do it a different way.
Brent crude, the international benchmark for oil prices, has surged since attacks restarted, climbing past $85 a barrel on Tuesday. And this may just be the start of even more volatility, says this expert.
The U.S. president has kind of alluded to the fact that he's tired of this memorandum, the ceasefire. And so it's really unknown whether this could last into Labor Day, into the month of August.
As Iran retaliates, Trump says U.S. strikes will next target power plants and bridges until Iran comes to the table.
Do you believe the Iranians are serious about making a deal?
I think they have no choice.
Why haven't they yet?
I think if I didn't do the way I'm doing, they would never make a deal.
Trump says U.S. representatives did hold talks with Iran Tuesday, but Iran state media reports the country's deputy foreign minister says Iran will never request negotiations with the United States. This expert says now that bombing has resumed, the attacks will only escalate.
The narrative back in Iran is, the United States under Donald Trump can't be trusted. We have to play hardball. We have to dig in. We have to suffer the current economic pain and go much further than we anticipated.
Mediators are still working on a more permanent peace deal, and experts say that may still be possible, but add recent fighting has made that more complicated. Julia Wong, CBC News, Washington.
We are learning more tonight about one of the men shot dead at a Toronto street festival this weekend. His mother says she last saw him Saturday evening just before he left for the festival.
He gave me a hug, and his last words to me, God is good. Look at where he's at.
Her son, 25-year-old Shaquan Kwashi, was killed alongside 20-year-old Cesar Vernaza in what police are calling a targeted shooting. Investigators have still not identified any suspects. Meanwhile, the group that hosts the festival is threatening to pull the plug on the event going forward. In a statement, it's demanding city officials and police boost security, accusing them of normalizing mass shootings at family festivals. The city says safety is its top priority, and it supports creating an association to strengthen security at festivals. Police in British Columbia say they're investigating allegations of voyeurism after a report that a recording device was found inside a FedEx staff washroom. And as Caroline Bargood explains, there are concerns more could have been done to protect employees.
When we fight, we win!
Employees at this FedEx facility are protesting what they say is a lack of accountability after disturbing allegations of voyeurism inside.
They don't like us! We don't care!
Police say an employee was arrested last week amid reports a recording device was found inside a staff washroom. Videos then uploaded to pornography websites.
I could literally see the women's faces to the point like if they're changing their tampons or anything, that's all recorded.
Gurpreet Kaur runs a women's advocacy group. She says 6 women who work at the facility have come forward to her, saying they found videos of themselves using the washroom online.
It's very early on in the investigation, and our investigators are going to look at all those questions, how many victims might there be and how long has this been going on.
Kaur alleges employees reported concerns to FedEx about a male coworker repeatedly going into the woman's washroom.
Several reports have been made by several different employees in the past 2 years. Why weren't any of those reports taken seriously? This was all preventable.
FedEx says it terminated the employee, adding, upon learning of the covert recording, FedEx safety, security, and HR teams immediately launched an internal investigation into this incident, including concerns that were raised and any new information as it becomes available. That process is ongoing. FedEx also says it has undergone extensive work to have the online content deleted.
As sad as it is, you have to be looking for these things in places where we wouldn't have thought that to be necessary before. Certainly not limited to the workplace, but this case shows that it would include the workplace.
She says with advancements in technology, recording devices are getting harder to detect. Police say a suspect was released on conditions, no word on charges. Caroline Bargood, CBC News, Vancouver.
In the U.S., a parasite outbreak continues to make people sick, with some very distressing symptoms. Officials aren't confirming the cause, but as Jennifer LaGrassa explains, they are pointing to a potential source of the illness that's already infected thousands.
Health officials say lettuce is the prime suspect behind a large outbreak of the parasite-driven illness of cyclosporiasis in the United States. But the culprit is still unclear.
In many cases with fresh produce, that source is never determined because of the short shelf life of the produce.
It's caused unpleasant illness for some.
I've never experienced diarrhea like that before, to where it's when they say it's explosive, it is very explosive.
Explosive diarrhea is one of the most common symptoms of the infection and can last for weeks. It comes from the parasite cyclospora found in human waste and spreads through contaminated water or soil, attaching itself to fruits and vegetables.
They can adhere to the surface of lettuce very well because of the folds and crevices, and also because of the organism's just kind of sticky.
The outbreak involves at least 4 states: Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky. Michigan has confirmed the highest number of cases, logging more than 3,300 in nearly a month, and thousands of others across several states are under investigation. The Public Health Agency of Canada says there are no outbreaks being investigated here. Though it is peak season for this parasite, there's not much concern from experts that this outbreak will make its way across the border.
I think the fact that we have not seen any cases yet directly associated means that those food items did not enter Canada, because by now they likely will have been consumed.
Out of caution, experts advise buying Canadian produce and eating peelable fruits or cooked vegetables when traveling to the U.S. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor, Ontario.
Emergency officials in southern Ontario say about 20,000 hogs have died in a massive fire Tuesday morning. The blaze engulfed a barn, sending up large plumes of smoke. No other injuries have been reported. The cause of the fire will be investigated, but officials say it's not being treated as suspicious. The Assembly of First Nations is meeting in Ottawa this week for its annual gathering. And as Olivia Stefanovic shows us, water and First Nations rights are front and center.
Before this year's annual General Assembly, First Nations members marched, not in protest, but in honor of water. A necessity that they say is under threat.
And we're actually getting ready, I think, to go to war for water on behalf of our communities.
The federal government introduced a bill last month to establish drinking water standards in First Nations. The regulations don't currently exist.
We've been poisoned intergenerationally. We have health issues, cancer.
An act respecting water.
But unlike a previous version of the bill, the new one doesn't explicitly recognize First Nations have a human right to safe drinking water.
Sadly, it represents a step back from the progress that was made with Parliament in 2024.
AFN leaders are also worried about Ottawa's plans to fast-track major infrastructure projects.
The federal government can try and set up all the timelines that they want for project approvals, but they can't put a deadline on First Nations rights, and you have rights.
I do feel that there are areas that are being missed in terms of speaking with First Nations leadership.
Many say they want to be more involved and earlier in consultations on projects.
We're no longer going to be giving up our resources for a little bit of money here and there for education or housing. Those days are over. We want to be shareholders and owners.
We should be the Saudis of Canada, right? There's a lot of money, trillions of dollars come from our lands, and when it's all trickles down, it's really nothing.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is promising equity and full partnership for Indigenous peoples with a proposed oil pipeline to the West Coast. But what that means in reality is still something First Nations leaders are waiting to find out. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Ottawa.
There were calls for Israel to release a prominent doctor from Gaza, held in custody for more than a year without charge. Israel's military claims he is a member of Hamas, but his family denies that. And as Margaret Evans tells us, they fear for his life.
Dr. Hussam Abu Safia. His voice was one of the strongest, detailing the suffering inflicted on Palestinians during the first year of Israel's war in Gaza. A voice that fell silent after Israeli troops took him from the hospital and the patients he'd refused to leave during a long siege. That was December 2024. His family, including sister Samahir, await his return in Gaza. This an image from his last day there. They took him from his work while he was wearing his white coat, she says. They didn't take him from a battlefield. She fears she won't see him again after his lawyer was granted a rare visit. The lawyer said he's in a terrible condition, she says, that he'd been beaten. Israel has held Abu Safia for 18 months now without charge. The Israel Defense Forces told CBC News the hospital director is suspected of involvement in terrorist activities, but failed to offer any proof.
I'm sure that if there was any evidence, that would come in the form of an indictment.
Physicians for Human Rights Israel is petitioning the country's Supreme Court for Abu Safia's release and that of 13 other Gazan doctors being held without charge.
These are personnel who have witnessed some of the atrocities happening in the hospital. And once they have been in the Israeli detention system, they are also witnesses of what is happening there.
The UN has expressed alarm over widespread allegations of systematic abuse of Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails, claims persistently denied by Israel's prison service. The head of Gaza's El Shifa hospital, Dr. Mohammed Abu Almia, says he was tortured while held for 7 months without charge before being released. The occupation seeks to break the will of Palestinian doctors inside Israeli prisons, he says. It wants to destroy their morale, something already in short supply in Gaza. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
An American astronaut and 2 Russian cosmonauts have now arrived on the International Space Station for their 8-month mission. The crew blasted off from Kazakhstan earlier today aboard a Russian spacecraft. The head of NASA also made a rare trip to watch the launch in Russia, the first to do so in 8 years. An underwater mission in the Labrador Sea has been gathering new insight into a historic shipwreck.
Having them near is not the same as having them literally chase you away from the wreck site.
We're on board as the crew waits for passing icebergs to continue their work next. Plus, India's big push to land the Olympics.
I would start out with a lot of skepticism about it making sense to do it.
Why some say it may not be in the country's best interest. And later, what better way to celebrate hockey's greatest trophy? The Stanley Cup gets a taste of Quebec. We're back in 2. Celebrations in Madrid tonight after Spain defeated France 2-0 to secure its spot in the World Cup final. This will be Spain's first trip back to the final since winning it all 16 years ago. The team will face either Argentina or England, depending on who wins their matchup on Wednesday. Professional women's soccer is coming to Winnipeg. The Northern Super League announced a new expansion team with the help of hometown Olympic gold medalist and retired NSL player Desiree Scott.
Growing up in Winnipeg, I dreamed of playing professional soccer. Like so many Canadian players of my generation, I had to build my career somewhere else. After today, the next generation won't have to.
This is the league's first expansion team. It's slated to kick off in the 2027 season.
And a strikeout starts the game in the bottom of the first.
Toronto Blue Jays star Dylan Cease made his first All-Star game appearance tonight in Philadelphia. Cease, the starting pitcher for the American League team, becomes only the 4th pitcher in Jays history and the first since Roy Halladay in 2009 to start in the Summer Classic. Well, we are getting a new look at a famed Canadian shipwreck off the coast of Greenland. Decades after the Terra Nova sank, researchers are on an expedition to bring back new images. Peter Cowan takes us on board.
On the bridge of the research ship Atlantis, they're tracking ancient icy visitors.
I want to sit here and see if it starts to change direction.
Icebergs are getting close, too close. They can't risk putting the submersible in the water.
Having them near is not the same as having them literally chase you away from the wreck site. It just goes to show you can't control everything. Right?
After the bergs leave, the signs can continue. After 80 years on the ocean floor, Terra Nova looks very different than it did in 1910, when it carried explorer Robert Falcon Scott to Antarctica. It sank during the Second World War, ferrying cargo to Greenland. The double wheel, the rudder, and other parts of the ship are still visible.
It's really in a wreck and bad condition, but interesting because of that.
It's a brittle star? They're related to sea stars?
The scientists on board want to understand what lives here now, documenting the sea life that lives on the wood, aluminum, and other materials.
If we want to predict the impacts of new things we're putting in the ocean, then we can look at old things that have been in the ocean from human activities for a while, aka shipwrecks.
Cutting-edge technology is making that easier. The remotely operated vehicle has new Canadian technology developed in Waterloo. It takes thousands of pictures, modeling the wreck in 3D as the remotely operated vehicle scans the site. Not just a better picture, but better science.
I know not just I'm on the bow, I'm on the stern, but this particular sample is 30 meters from the bow, and that means that, I can analyze things a lot more quantitatively. It allows us to be much more mathematical.
This is the last dive of the trip, the end of a multi-million-dollar expedition for the Royal Canadian Geographical Society, its most expensive ever. But it's bringing back new pictures, video, and science to help understand this shipwreck. Peter Cowan, CBC News, on board Atlantis, off the coast of Greenland.
The shocking killing of a young Punjabi singer has made headlines in India and has alleged ties back to Canada.
On the last night of her life, Inder Kaur ended up here near a well-known canal outside the city.
Susan Ormiston is in India speaking to family members looking for justice and desperate for answers. Plus, India's ambitious pitch to host the Olympics.
Be a proud moment for India.
The great hope for the bid, some feel, is a long shot. Tonight, CBC News takes you inside a murder investigation that police say could stretch from India to here in Canada. The killing of a young Punjabi singer has sparked a media frenzy in India. No charges have been laid, but investigators believe the prime suspect has fled to this country. Susan Ormiston breaks down the case, the complications, and a family's fight for answers.
We're on the trail of a murder in Ludhiana, a Punjabi city. A brutal killing of a young woman and a man wanted by police with a Canadian connection. The murder in May touched off a wild media frenzy in India. After police alleged their chief suspect had fled back to Canada, and after her family begged for help to find her killer. Inder Kaur was a music sensation with videos and a role in a Punjabi film. Inder, as she was known, was 29 and single. One evening in May, she went missing. On May 13th, police claim Inder Kaur left her home about 8:30 in her vehicle, her movements tracked on CCTV video. Her brother, Jotinder, who lived with her, said she went out to get groceries.
She assured me over the phone, I will be back in just 10 to 15 minutes. When I finally started calling her again, she didn't pick up my calls at all.
Jotinder got worried. He called a cousin and started a search. The two ended up at a local police station registering a missing persons complaint. When police dug into the investigation, they suspected she was abducted and began to reconstruct what happened.
On the last night of her life, Inder Kaur ended up here near a well-known canal outside the city. By midnight, she was dead, shot in the forehead and the chest, and her body and her car were dumped in the canal. It was now a suspected murder case. Her car, pulled out of the canal, had bloodstains, according to police. An autopsy confirmed the bullet wounds on her body.
Under intense pressure to find a killer, on May 20th, police paraded 3 suspects arrested for abduction and illegal possession of guns, calling them accomplices. They jailed the 3. But police said the actual killer, their primary suspect, had vanished, alleging he'd fled India the night she died. That man, they claimed, is Sukhwinder Singh Brar. Police say he's a permanent resident of Canada, and they're searching for him. As they piece together how he and she knew each other. Her family confirmed Kaur and Singh had a long-distance friendship. He lives in Canada, according to them, but frequently traveled back to India.
Happy birthday to you.
In January, on a visit back to India, they celebrated his birthday with her family.
I'm Susan. Thank you for inviting us.
When we visited the family home, Inder's mother told us the two had been planning to marry this year.
She trusted him blindly. She loved him dearly. He loved her too. He claimed, "I've come to finalize the engagement," so all of us gave him shagun, which is blessings and gifts.
But they would discover he was already married with a wife and children in Canada.
Did Inder know he was married?
She didn't know anything. When my daughter called him, his wife answered the phone. She was under a lot of stress, took medication, hardly slept, and cried a lot.
And then she disappeared. And the alleged Canadian connection was the talk, especially in places like Ludhiana, Punjab, a state with strong ties to Canada. Many here have relatives in the Indo-Canadian community, and more dream of their children emigrating.
We want justice, really.
The extended family was begging for Canada to get involved. To track the case, we went to the district police office
Hello.
to meet the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Inderjeet Singh Boprai.
Thank you for your time.
He claims that under intense interrogation, one of the men arrested, Singh's father, confessed.
He admitted to absolutely everything. He confessed that Sukhwinder has come to India and they were accomplices in the crime.
Police have shared their murder theories widely, but so far there are no official charges against Singh. They allege the 2 weapons they've recovered are registered to him. Forensics on the bullets and the weapons are pending. So far, no charges.
So at this stage, has anyone in the Punjab police contacted police authorities in Canada?
We cannot contact them directly. We have to follow the proper channels.
Local media has been pressing for Canada to act. But proper channels means first, Punjab police have to file charges in court and prove they have a valid case. Only then could it go up to the Indian government, who would then have to make a decision whether to formally ask for cooperation from Canadian authorities.
The RCMP and Calgary police have told us they've had no contact regarding this murder.
It's also not known if the suspect is in fact in Canada. Records show he is a director in a Calgary construction company and owns a house. CBC has tried to contact him with no response.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Meanwhile, in Ludhiana, there are swirling suspicions that this case is dragging. A former elected politician and family friend, Jaspal Singh Gyaspara, is on a mission to push the case along.
Investigation police सही ढंग ਨਾਲ नहीं ਕੀਤੀ. The first investigation is not a proper investigation.
He alleges there were others involved, even a police officer. He told us he pushed to get the case bumped up to a special investigation branch.
What do you expect Canada to do now?
ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਆਦਮੀ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਭੇਜੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਫੁੱਲ ਪ੍ਰੂਫ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਦਵਾਂਗੇ.
Inder Kaur's cousin, Gurinder Pal Singh, can't understand why there's not already enough evidence for Canada to act.
हम कनाडा से यही चाहते हैं कि
We urge the Canadian government, his complete record should be formally requested and we seek his deportation to India.
कि इस बंदे को आगे वीज़ा ना दिया जाए.
But the investigation is not complete. The chief suspect hasn't been questioned and none of the allegations have so far been tested in court. Letting go has been painful. Inder's funeral rites attracted a large gathering of admirers and family. They believed in a promising future for a young woman. They feel helpless.
My child, come back to me. Nothing feels right. Nothing feels good anymore.
I'm sorry.
My daughter wants justice.
Yashwinder Kaur's murder may cross international borders, but it remains a mystery. As Punjab police allege, their chief suspect is in another country out of reach.
In order for police in Canada to arrest a suspect in this case, Indian officials would first have to submit a formal extradition request backed by evidence. That has not happened. We're going to stay in India for our next story as that country pushes to host its first ever Olympics.
The lobbying and charm offensive to get the Olympics has been on for months.
Salima Shivji breaks down the work already underway, as well as the challenges and concerns next. Well, India is determined to host its first ever Olympic Games in 2036. But as Salima Shivji first showed us back in the fall, along with an ambitious bid, there are still significant challenges that could stand in the way.
Early morning and training is on. Precision and concentration vital as the shots are lined up. For these young athletes diligently practicing an Olympic sport that India excels in, shooting.
Practice. And the Indian supporters go crazy to recognise the bronze medalist.
How cool is this?
It's party time in India.
3 medals in the discipline at the last Summer Olympics in Paris, giving impetus to India's ambitious bid to host the Games for the first time ever in 2036. It's news that makes these two teenage shooters cheer.
What do you want to do with this sport? What's your highest goal?
Olympics. Mostly competing in one, they say, but they'd also love to see the Games at home.
It'll be a proud moment for India.
And India has the infrastructure and all, so it's gonna be really great, exciting.
The infrastructure is not quite there yet, but the push is on in the proposed host city Ahmedabad in India's western Gujarat state, where construction on sports venues has already kicked into high gear as India tries to convince officials with the International Olympic Committee that the South Asian country's time has come. A still developing nation with the world's fastest growing major economy. The lobbying and charm offensive to get the Olympics has been on for months, and Indian officials keep announcing more investments on sports infrastructure. There's a promise to build more than 10 new stadiums here in Ahmedabad. There's also enthusiasm on the streets, even if India faces stiff competition with rival bids from Qatar, Turkey, and Chile.
See, India earlier was an underdeveloped country, and now they are taking notice of Indians. Matter of pride.
That sense of pride, a key thread when India's Prime Minister spelled out the country's ambition to land the Games during Independence Day celebrations last year.
हिंदुस्तान का सपना है कि 2036 में
We organized a fantastic G20 summit, Narendra Modi says. It proves India can welcome any major event. Our goal is clear, he says. We want to host the 2036 Olympics on Indian soil. To that end, India's team lobbied hard at the Paris Games. And at home,
Paris 2024 Olympic में ये track था.
There's been a concerted years-long effort from Modi's government to up funding and praise for athletes.
भारत के लिए
The government keeps talking up the benefits of hosting the prestigious sporting event for the nation, for development. But the risks are very high.
And the games will be declared open.
In 2010, the Commonwealth Games in Delhi were shambolic, plagued by construction delays, corruption scandals, and massive mismanagement. Now, India will get a do-over, with Ahmedabad set to host the Commonwealth Games in 2030, 6 years before the Olympics that India is trying to land in that same city.
Well, I think there are always political factors that push countries and cities forward with bids like this.
But this expert on the economics of the Olympics says it's extremely rare for any games to be a good idea. It's just not a sound investment.
I would start out with a lot of skepticism about it making sense to do it. It's the sort of thing that can either be a neutral force or a slightly positive force, but the odds are stacked against it.
The IOC has reportedly raised concerns over bad governance within the Indian Olympic Association, high doping rates, and India's dismal record at the Olympics. With a meager 6 medals in Paris for a country of more than 1.4 billion people, their highest total ever in a single Games was only 7 medals. But at the shooting range in Pune, as former World Cup champion Shahu Mane completes another day of training, the question marks over India's Olympic bid are completely overshadowed by the possible benefits.
Getting the Olympics is like, it's the massive stage. Yeah, I feel India can host the Olympics in a well manner because they have the infrastructure right now. The government is trying everything to build up.
It's a winning proposition for all of these athletes, dreaming of gold and glory at home.
Well, we'll still have to wait years to find out who will host the Games in 2036. The International Olympic Committee is expected to announce that in mid-2029. Coming up, the Stanley Cup doubles as a bowl for a Canadian staple in Quebec.
We put some paper in it because, you know, we have to be sanitary a little bit.
Why the trophy was filled with poutine, next in our moment. Well, this is Stanley Cup champion William Carrier in Quebec, filling up the bowl of the trophy with a Canadian classic, poutine. Well, after winning the Cup this past season with the Carolina Hurricanes, he took it to his home province to give it a proper welcoming, and that makes our moment.
William Carrier, the hockey player, came to have a big poutine in the Stanley Cup. It was pretty crazy because he came by boat because we are next to the water with all the people around him, like family and friends. It was a big party. He came straight in our restaurant. We put some paper in it because, you know, we have to be sanitary a little bit. We dropped the fry and we dropped the cheese curd and the sauce. He put the sauce by himself. We let him do that. It was his moment. That's really Canadian. We knew that he was coming. He got in contact with my boss. He told us that he was a good client. He come here every year. Just for the Stanley Cup to be in Beauharnois, it's already something, and for people to be in their favorite restaurant in the city, it was magical. We were so happy.
So William Carrier grew up in a town outside Montreal, and we mentioned he plays for the Carolina Hurricanes, who beat the Montreal Canadiens to advance in the NHL playoffs this year. But Isabel said everyone was still excited to meet him. Well, this is not the first time poutine has been in the Stanley Cup. In fact, many Canadian players who win the cup eat poutine out of it. From all of us at the National, thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Juanita Taylor. Take care.